So this is grid. If you don't know what grid is, I didn't know what grid was. If you need a pad or paper, Valerie can help you out over there. If you don't know what grid is, guess what? I didn't know what it was 6 months ago either. Now I do. So grid is basically an organization. It is an investor network. It is international, started by a guy from Keller Williams. He put it together and he said, I want to take real estate agents and I want to build some of the largest investing communities across the nation. So we connected with them. We're connected with 1,000 investors all over the United States. We have a database of about 40,000 we're working with right now. And I wanted to bring it big time as much as I can to Houston. So here's the whole purpose. How many of you guys are real estate agents? All right, we're represented. Let's go. How many guys are contractors, do moving, all kinds of stuff like that outside of real estate? Outside of real estate. Okay. How many are investors or want to be investors? Okay. How many are lenders, lend money, help people find money for the deals, make things happen? Okay. So we're going to have a wide variety of people here. What we're going to start with is every single month, we're going to do this again. We're going to have a different topic, a different training. Today, we're going to start with where to find the money. Hence, I brought in the king of finding money this side of Houston is going to be Mr. Toler. So guys, make some noise for him. Go through some training slides just real quick. We're going to break down the basics of where to find money, hard money, any kind of money you could possibly imagine that's going to get you going into the real estate world. Some basic definitions. We're going to hold questions. We're going to move to King James Lending over here. He's going to drop his bombs on us. He's going to do his spiel. We're going to learn everything we possibly can. Then at the end, we're going to ask questions. When we're done with all that, it's mixed mingle time, network with people, get to know people, get out of your comfort zone and find someone who does something that you do not do, or even somebody that does. Get to know them. Let's build networks. Let's build opportunities, and let's build our wealth. Is that fair enough?
Yes, sir.
I said, is that fair enough? Yes. All right, let's go. So real quick, how we're going to start is we're going to do some basic introductions. So my name is Ozzie Ramirez. I run a real estate team called the AskOzzie.com real estate team. We move anywhere between 80 and 120 million dollars in real estate a year. Transactional value, probably about 300 to 400 transactions in real estate a year between investment, wholesaling, and actual retail real estate. I've been doing this 17 years. My value is I just fucked up more than most people you're going to talk to. All right. And I do drop F-bombs every once in a while. I'll do my best not to.
Okay, we're used to.
But yeah, there you go. The main value in all this, come sit down right here if you want to. The main value is as we come together and we share our years of experience, all the mistakes we made, all the things we learned, we begin to create a collective genius so we can benefit each other. And I think that's a really important thing. So, Steffi, where's Steffi G at?
Right here.
There she is. Okay, I didn't see she is. Okay. So Stephanie's part of Grid. She's really the backbone behind everything we're doing here. Thank you so much, Steph. Everybody make some noise, Stephanie. And I want to go around the room and grab a few people. We're probably not going to be able to do the whole room, but we're going to call some people out. What do you do? How long you been in the industry? And how can we help you today? Got it? So start us off.
I'm Stephanie. I am a real estate agent on the amazing AskOzzie.com real estate team. I've been licensed for about 3 years, and I've dabbled in the investment world, but it's time to grow that side of my business and network with all of you guys so we can put our heads together and close some deals. So that's a little bit about me. Just excited to see where this goes. So I appreciate all of you coming out. I'm excited to get to know all of you.
Thank you. We'll have an even bigger intro later. Actually, I'll go ahead and start off. So I like sitting down every once in a while. So who here has met James Toler in some form or fashion in the real estate industry here? So the reason why when it came up where to find money, I went to James. I've known him for a while. One of the coolest things I ever really respect about him was how he systematically built his business based on what I saw. And what I saw was he just goes to lunch with anybody and everybody and talks about real estate all the time. And when he sits down with you and talks to you about real estate, it's not what it is with a lot of people. So a lot of people will sit down and they will just beat you to death with how amazing they are. how many deals they've closed, how many millions they have. James did none of that. Actually, he was probably one of the quietest sit downs I've ever had because he asked a lot of questions and it felt like he really just wanted to know who the hell I was. And that was really important to me. So when it came for me to fund one of my apartment complexes, we were doing a refi about 1.3 million. I said, James, number one, I respect you. I like what you do. Number two, I just want to take a picture with you at closing, like everybody else. And so we did it. We cashed the deal. We got things rolling, and it was fantastic. And I appreciate you. That's why I invited you out here today. I'm more than impressed with everything that you do. I'm honored to be in business with you, and I want to continue to learn and grow with you as much as possible. So if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about you and what brought you here.
Here tonight or in real estate?
All of it. All of it.
Yeah. So I've been in real estate about 7 years, and I am a pretty quiet person. Like you say, I'm more of a listener. Not necessarily I'm a reader. I read a lot. I learn. So I step back and I'm growth minded. So every day I'm trying to get a little better. Every day, in every way. There's a saying, in every day, in every way, I get better and better. I feel like that's something I've done. I've made it a priority to. It's not something I've just dreamed of doing. So, I appreciate those kind words, but every day I'm just trying to get a little better. I try to learn a little bit more. I try to meet one new person. I realized early on, if I knew 10 people and 10 people might bring me a deal, possibly, if we had a strong enough relationship, what would happen if 100 people knew me? What about if 1,000 people knew me? And so I just started every day I try to meet one new person every day. Usually it's 3 or 4 a day. Every day, every single day. And I don't go to a meeting to tell you something. I go to figure out what your goals are and how can I help you get them. That doesn't involve talking, trying to convince you of how great I am. What it involves is figuring out what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's maybe something a little bit different I've done is my job's not to tell you what your goals are, but they are to help you reach them.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a little different than most. So if I can become a little more valuable every day as a person, a little more wiser, and then I can give you some of that value. In return, you'll value me.
So if you don't learn anything else today, learn to shut up and listen to people. I think that's valuable enough. And it's funny. I won't forget. We met at Classic Cafe in Seabrook. We sat it was inside, but it felt like it was outside in the little patio area. And it was just, I was able to talk. My partners, we talked about different things about apartments and things we were doing. And since then, I'm like, man, we got to do some things with this guy. And I'm honored to have you here, and I really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Before we get into everything, the way the setup is supposed to be is we're supposed to go around the room and everybody intros himself. I wasn't expecting it to be this packed. I know we have like 30, 40 people in Zoom land or so. How many people? We have a lot of people registered. I don't know who's on right now. I can check that part. But we've got Zoom land working right now. We got a packed house, which means I need to buy a bigger building. So that's the next spot. We're going to find this. And just, I want to go around and pick some random people. Do not get your feelings hurt if you don't get picked. But I just want to know what people do, kind of feel the room, see what we have here. Then I'm going to get into the slides. And then, of course, James is going to do what he does. So real quick, Nike hat. I don't know your name. I want to know your name.
My name is Angel Rocha.
Okay.
And so outside of the real estate game, I'm a salesperson. And I deal with contractors that sell the fire protection.
Okay.
So people that own apartments here, if you get into a bind, let me know. Now the real estate game, I have a couple of rentals, and I've just been kind of just trying to learn as much as I can.
So if there's one thing that you could get out of this group that could bring you the most value, what would it be?
I really like to get into the rental, to the apartment complex.
Okay.
And somebody wants to partner up with me, I'd like to know a little bit about you and that kind of stuff.
So multifamily game is what it sounds
Yeah.
like. So everybody that heard him, if you know anything about the multifamily game and you think y'all can make connection work, let's make that happen today. Let's see. the beautiful blue and red shirt. Yes. Tell us about yourself.
So my name is Yvette Salazar. This is my cousin Yvette Salazar. So we do, well, we're both agents. What Prosperity do. He does it full-time, kind of still on the side. And we started investing not too long ago. So we have a couple of splits going and we have a couple of rentals. We actually have a deal with James right now that we have going. And I mean, like you said, and like everybody else is here, like just to learn more of it, to see what else we can do to reach our goals.
So there's one thing that we could help you with bringing the most value today. What would it be?
Money.
Money. Okay. She does not waste any time. She got straight to the point. I can appreciate that.
Man.
I like it. I like it. The beautiful shirt lady says she wants money. Miss Yvette, thank you so much. You guys, I'm going with the shirt theme today, right? I love your shirt, man. Tell us about you.
Alexander Milford. I own Move by Faith. We're a residential commercial moving company based out of League City. So if you ever need a mover, you know who to refer to your clients. But I'm actually here as a student because I do want to start transitioning into real estate. So just looking forward to meeting everybody. Thank you.
Good deal. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. KW hat on there with the red glasses. I know your name, but I'm acting like I don't know who you are. Let's go, Ryan.
I'm Ryan. I have been a real estate sales agent for 9 years, and I do a lot of business coaching and life coaching. And today I'm here, I'm a student. I want to learn more. I think I can get value from learning more about buying, renovating, refinancing, and renting. So
Repeating.
Yeah, and repeating.
Repeating. That's the
Burn it up.
burn
The burn. Good. Okay, we'll get us some burn. I'm sure the topics will come up. Thank you so much. She's very young. Tell us about like where you're headed, what you got going on.
I'm first one. I work with.
Oh, my bad. Hey, I still love you.
So I'm actually here. I do sales with short title full time, but I'm super anxious to get into the real estate world. I want to be one of the top investors in my city.
We appreciate it. Let's go. I had to get you.
My name is Monica Grover. I'm in the airline industry, and Harvey and COVID set my retirement back, so I'm looking for another path to retire early.
So the investment world.
The investment
Okay,
world.
that works. Thank you so much for letting us know. Two more. Is the green shirt, army colored shirt back over here. What's your name?
My name's Stephen Mendiola. I'm an investor. I've been investing for about 4 years now, 4.5 years. I also help out with the King James lending. So if you don't need money, y'all hit me up after this.
Let's go. Hey, I'm gonna hit you up right now. Give me money. Let's go.
And I think I just want to get to know a lot more people in the industry, see that, you know, what everybody's doing and what we can do together.
Absolutely.
Grow businesses.
We appreciate you, boss. We appreciate you. We need to hear from you, sir.
Hi, my name is Brandon Walker. James laughing already. James and I, we've done about 3 or 4 deals already. I mainly wholesale. We flip a time or two. But if anybody's in here that's looking for residential, multifamily, or commercial properties for wholesale, we do it all. Okay. So one big value that I would like to take from here is any buyers that's in here that can use James to help y'all live. We hustle and get all types of properties. Okay, Acorn Investment for you. We go to get any kind of property y'all looking for. So that's my value.
Can I say one thing on that?
Go
So
for it.
He did Brent and I did a deal in Crystal Beach. Bought it for $215,000, put $70,000 in it, got $465.
Nice. Hold on. Say it again. Say it again.
For the people in the back.
Say it, and then when you're done, I want us to celebrate it like what it is. Because he's like, we made all this money. Right? Some of you motherfuckers don't make that in a year, and you ain't celebrating this dude. Let's go.
Brandon, he just said it. He hustles. He works hard. There's a lot of effort put into wholesaling these deals. You know all about that. There's a lot of effort in doing renovations and selling them. But he had a deal in Crystal Beach. We drove down there and bought it for $215.
Shot a little pool.
There you go.
That, no, not pool, the ping pong table.
Yeah, had
That
a
was
ping,
no
shot a
longer
little
there.
ping pong. You gotta have a little fun. And put 70,000 in it. And then we got 465. So we're in it for 285, 290, and got 465.
Who was on that project?
You
Oh,
cleared 150K about, right?
Yeah.
You can't hate
One
that.
deal. One deal.
Let's go. I'm gonna tell you right now, which is really good, where we're about to get into is, guys, this is the common thing that I like to tell people in investing to get started is, it used to be they had the golden rule. I don't know if y'all remember this. People used to say this crap. He who has the gold makes the rules. And yeah, but then no. So in the investment world, the change that I've seen is the deal finders are equally as important as the money guys. I've had too many investors come to me and say, I got $1 million, find me properties. And I say, well, that's great. I'm going to throw a rock and I'm going to hit 10 more people with $1 million. And then I'm going to pick one of you to go into business with me. You're either going to make a decision to accept what I got for you or not, because I control the deal. So understand that the deal finders are very important in this business. If you can find a deal, the money will show the hell up.
Well, you're all millionaires in here if you know the right people.
Absolutely.
Every single one of you has access to $1 million.
Yeah, very true. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into the slides. Let's knock out the training part. Let's make sure everybody gets educated. So who here has already bought an investment, has already used some kind of private money, hard money, maybe even some IRAs, anything like that, to fund an investment deal before? All right, good. So we got a great audience here to go over this stuff with. So legal stuff, I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna act like you read it. All right, let's go. Okay, so here's the deal. You let's say you found a deal. You go out there, some of you guys door knock, right? Some of you guys gonna be driving for dollars. Some of you call databases. Some of you hire somebody from the Philippines to call everybody and their mama. Like, everybody's gonna do something different to find deals. Whatever works for you, fantastic. Now you found the deal. You measured up the ARVs, you know how to do the math, and you're like, this is a good deal. But maybe you don't have the money. So there's many different possible sources you could fund a deal with. Of course, the easiest one, cash. Truth be told, not everybody has all the cash in the world, right? We may not have all the liquid funds available for us to do what we want to do. So we have to find other alternative sources. Other places, a lot of people don't use home equity. It is a great opportunity if you know how to manage your money right. I would not suggest it for everyone. Some of you are going to gamble your house and lose it, and that may not be a good idea. But for those that are a little more disciplined, it could be a great opportunity. So stocks, other investments, there's so many things you can cash out on. IRAs, if some of you guys are working with IRAs, 401ks, there are ways that you can take that money and actually put it to work. So if you're receiving a lesser than like really valuable return, you may find that real estate may be a much better return for your money. You may want to pull it out and move it around. That is going to be a conversation you need to have with your financial advisor, and maybe a guy like James and some other people will do stuff like that. Another thing, a lot of people, and this is one I want to get into just a little bit, family and friends. So I've been doing this 17 years. I started investing over 12 years ago. I've moved hundreds of properties in real estate investing. Years ago, my mother-in-law came to me, and other people have come to me, and they said, I want to put money with you. I want to put money with you. I want to invest. And for about a good 9 years, maybe 10 years, I said no. I said no to everybody, because I felt, for me, that I didn't want to risk other people's money. If I risk my money and I lose, that's on me. And that's what I became comfortable with. Here's the problem with that. The problem with it is I was getting rich, and my family and friends are watching me do it. And at some point or another, they're looking at me like, you're a selfish bastard.
They get it mad.
They are. It's true. They watch the life start to happen, and then they wonder, like, why aren't you taking me on this ride with you? I got 20,000, I got 50,000. It's not a lot, but I want to put it to work. Can we do it? It is an opportunity. Now, if you do something like that, you have to be very well versed. You have to be educated. You have to go through the right steps. Some people just kind of go all willy-nilly about it. They just take people's money and go start investing it. That's an option. It's also an option to get you in a lot of trouble, especially if you're a licensed real estate agent. So that's a whole nother world. We can talk about that another day, or at the end of this, I can break down some stuff. I do fundraising. I know James does fundraising, and I know we put packages of money together and we go out and fund deals. So loans, guys, everybody knows about this. Loans. You can go out and get a mortgage loan. Conventional may not always work on investment property. I think we know that, right? A lot of these lenders aren't going to deal on jacked up deals, right? Houses that need a lot of work. The other thing about it is when you find a really good deal, it's usually gone. You got a couple days to make that thing happen, or that thing's gone. So if you're trying to go with a traditional loan and you're talking 30, 45 days out, it is not going to be there, or that seller more than likely will not wait for you. So that may not be the greatest option in the world. Possible loan sources, traditional banks, things like that. Those are also, like we said, they're going to require larger percentages down. A lot of times, we're going to get into more of the hard money and private money and stuff like that. The requirements are thicker. I say thicker. They're harder to get through. They're going to require a lot more paperwork, a lot more time, and a lot more restrictions on what you can actually do with the money they're lending you. So it might not always work for you. Now, private or hard money, which I don't want to go too far into it, but truth about private or hard money is a lot of times it's not nearly as affected by your credit. Now, I know he'll tell you the details, but if you have like judgments and all these other things against your name that are actually going to affect the way you do business and use the money, it might not work for you. But most loans that are hard money or private money are more about the piece of real estate than they are about you. Does the real estate have enough equity where we put our money in and the risk is worth the reward? Basically, in a nutshell. And with loan sources, guys, we've talked to a few people here. I know Victor he does a lot of traditional lending, right? Who else might be a lender, mortgage guy, hard money, private money, anything like that? I've owner financed properties. I've lent people on hard money in terms, and nowhere near the level that James does. So typical loan terms, right? Well, Victor said network. So I don't want to go too much into loan terms because really I want you to cover a lot of that. I think you're already going to have a lot of the information. One of the big things I will tell you when we talk about loan terms, LTV, loan to value, understand what that means. Understand, anybody heard of the word ARV? After repair value. These are great terms you need to learn in this investment world. And other considerations. So when we look at like properly structuring a loan, there are many different types. So if you go into construction, it may be something that's pushed out a little bit differently. If you're doing hard money, I know a lot of them, if you are going to finance the actual purchase and the rehab, a lot of lenders are going to require that to sit in escrow. So you're going to have some liquid capital to kind of prime that deal and get it going. So that's the stuff I really wanted to cover. We are not going to quite go into questions yet because I know that a lot of them are going to go ahead and be answered by James. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up your slides, and I'll be for the older people, Vanna White. For the younger people, you have no idea what I was just talking about. And
The top
Okay.
right dots.
do what?
The dots on the far right.
Okay.
Present.
I'm glad you're here, bro.
I'm glad I
really
am
am.
too.
Okay,
Gotcha.
great. So it's all you, brother.
Okay. I love your place, by the way. I hadn't been out here. I love it. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
Here's the funniest thing in the world is at the beginning of COVID in like February of 2020, we moved in here. COVID hit like in April, and I bought this building. And I'm like, oh, now everybody go home. Like, we can't use it
I'm
anymore.
glad I didn't loan on it.
Yeah, no. Hey, we made it. We're still here, damn it. All right, you tell me when to.
Yeah, go for it. So where to find the money? I started off a little bit about me in real estate as an investor. So I didn't start off as a lender. I didn't have a wealthy dad or family. I'm probably going to inherit debt from my family. Anybody feel that way about their family, right? So it wasn't something started in 2016. Started a company called NASA House Buyers. I flipped a little over 200 houses in 7 years, 6, 7 years. One thing I realized early on, and I'll share this with you, you can't really make money doing one at a time. Did you figure that out fairly early?
I realized that when you move volume, you get to make more mistakes and keep on rolling.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a nice trip to Cancun or somewhere, I mean, you can do a flip and maybe you make 20, 30,000. The home run deals, like I mentioned with Brandon, I mean, those happen from building momentum and being in the game, right? Brandon thought of me with that deal, and I mean, it closed quick, right? But I mean, that wasn't something that just happened. You had heard of me. I had bought a lot of houses already. So, there's building a reputation for yourself and building momentum plays a role in that. When you start attracting, everybody's out pursuing deals. We're pursuing. There's a certain point where you start attracting them to you. And I think that's something, that's a goal of all of us to get to. It's kind of that thought of, your most valuable asset is your reputation. I believe that's something I've always worked really hard at, is developing, doing things right. I think that's extremely important. I started King James Lending in 2021, so I've been a little over a year. I think people are kind of shocked at that. I hadn't been around that long. I did my first loan. I kind of share how I got into it. I had a buddy of mine who had a closing on Friday. His lender, private lender, called him and said, "Hey, I can't close this.
I remember this.
Can't close it. I'm sorry." So the day of closing, he told me, right? So he calls me up, James, the only guy that I know he needed $116,000. And he goes, "I need it today." He goes, "If I don't have it today, I'm going to lose this deal." And when looked at I never made a loan, so I was kind of a little hesitant, right? That's a lot of money. You agree? So I went over there and looked at it, and I liked it a lot. And I trusted the borrower. It's a good friend of mine. And so I looked at the deal. I said, "You know what? I'll do it." So I went down to the bank. I got a cashier's check for $116,000. I went straight to title. So from that call to closing was about 2 hours. Talking, lending, that's kind of crazy, right? You say you get a call. So maybe it was a cashier's check. I drew up docs, lawyer drew up docs of title. Well, that kind of got out. And what the heck, how did this happen that fast? And that was my first loan that I made. It wasn't a mistake. I was not trying to be a lender or anything. God trusted me, kind of last second. And from that point, people started to come to me and say, "Hey, James, I heard about that. I heard what you did. I'm interested. Would you do that for me?" And then kind of got go. I'm real big, like a lifestyle by design guy. You ever any of y'all that way?
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of create, you visualize, you set goals, and you work toward them. This was not that. This was just a random call, and I love that though, right? I mean, think about buying houses. We buy houses all the time, right? But think about saving a house, saving a deal. It hits a little differently. And it kind of goes with my temperament. I love teaching and coaching and helping. So when I saved that deal, it gave me a different feeling than if I think about if you had come to James, I can't buy this. Can I sell it to you for $5,000? And then you buy it, then what? I would end up making 50 grand on the deal. But so I made a little less on the deal, but I just enjoyed that process. And so that just flows with my temperament. I think lending is something I kind of goes well with me, to be honest with you. So we've got about 315 loans out right now. This is I just hit $50 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Here. It's been a wild ride. People, it's hard to believe that actually. And people ask me how in the world could you have done? We're growing 30%, 40% month over month. But and I share this with you as investors, young investors, maybe more experienced investors. I've been sowing into people since I started, and I had nothing to offer. Would you as a leader of your team, right? You're sowing.
I look at everybody in the company right now and I think, why the hell are you listening to me? And then at the end of the day, like it starts to make a little more sense.
Sure, exactly, right? So I've been sowing since I started. My cousin's Joel Osteen. So that's kind of in my blood to teach and sow and do all that sort of thing. So I think from when I first started, and I think the best way to learn something is to teach it. Would y'all agree with that? If you want to get something really deep, you teach it.
Mhm.
And so I didn't know what I was doing necessarily, but I was teaching it. I was teaching what I didn't know.
The other thing about teaching is, once you start to teach it, you better get your crap right. Because it's very easy to start looking like a fraud
Yeah.
when people begin to realize he's teaching theory and not actuality. That's a different world.
Yeah, but it's something I also, so I've been sewing into other people for so long, but I didn't do it to get anything from it. I just like teaching. So the second that I had a product to offer, all those people that I was teaching came to me. It's kind of an interesting thought there of, when you sow, when are you going to reap? Well, most people need to see when they're going to reap to sow. Do you agree with that? Most people. So I like the idea of just sowing to sow. Get that deep in your subconscious mind. Sow. And when it comes back to you, don't worry about it. That shouldn't even be a thought. That's a faith thought, not a faith principle, but we've got about 400 bars, active bars. Matter of fact, I've got a couple of deals that I'm having. I have 3 deals that we're about to have come up from kind of a pre-foreclosure. So if anybody are looking for deals, probably a good guy to give out deals to.
That's what you said earlier?
Yeah. So the one thing I do, my job really as an owner, business owner, is to add as much value to clients as possible, right? I mean, that's all of our jobs. And net worth, that's your job, right? You have clients, how fast can I get these properties? How can I get them out? Can I get good deals to them? But so I love bringing deals to bars. I mean, most lenders are never going to bring you deals. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
It's just not. So I'm an active investor. I have 9 flips going on right now. So I mean, I'm not just a lender. I have a good number of rentals. Just bought a 15-house package in Sunnyside. So it's all rentals. So yeah, real excited about that. But I'm right there in the field with you. I'm not sitting at the top or something, That's a little bit about me. I want to talk a little bit about what is private money lending. What is the lending process for your private money? How to analyze a good deal. I think that's pretty important, isn't it?
And if you want to, I mean, we might have to make some room over there, but if you want to use the board at all,
Okay.
you want to show
Oh,
numbers.
it's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. I think I get it. But and I think this is important, like I said earlier, how to determine your real estate goals. How can you hit a target that you don't have? You can't. It's impossible. So if I know what you want, I can help you get there. I'm a real big believer in that. Having a goal, knowing exactly what you want, daily focused effort. That plays a huge role in it. So anyway, I think that's something to think about. Still there. So what's a good deal? Hey, John.
This guy right.
What is a good deal? John, you know what a good deal is? You had a couple of those? You had a few of them now. What is it? So to me, if you know what a good deal is, it always amazes me when somebody comes to me and I say, hey, how much do you want to make? Have you flipped a house? Have you ever flipped a house? Once? If I come to you and I said, hey, you want to flip another one? Does your experience work? Okay. So how much do you want to make?
80, 90?
80, 90,000?
Let's go. He gonna have his heart broke soon enough.
Whoa, so you doing $3 million deals? But, let's say 80, 90,000 and I bring it to you. It's always interesting. So that's a pretty high expectation you have. Is that fair to say? Sometimes people will have high expectations because they're really scared to do it. Right? Because if I bring you a $30,000 deal, it's too low for you. But the truth is that high buffer point really says I'm scared. And I see that all the time. Do you agree with that?
it keeps a lot of people in that analysis paralysis
Yes.
phase where they're spinning, which is a valuable thing. I suggest you go out and analyze as many damn deals as you can. But at some point or another, you got to pull the trigger and you got to jump on something. And it is risky and it is scary. But truth be told, like, if you don't take the risk, it's never going to happen. And you're going to learn more when you screw up than when it all goes just
Well, there's something to
amazing.
be said about building momentum, building reputation.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the reputation that ends up attracting those really good deals to you. So I determine the ARV. So I just think when you know what you're looking for, is it easier to find it?
Yeah.
That's a principle I go off of. I mean, really. And it's amazing to me. You wouldn't believe how many times you want to make 30 grand. Yes, I'll make 30 grand. I lay out all the numbers. Okay, we even put a margin of safety in here. You're going to make 30 grand. You probably would make 35, but I guarantee you make 30. Oh no, I want to make 45. See that?
Mhm.
I want to make 40. It changes. The goalpost moves. So, if I can help you, Ozzie can help you find exactly what you're looking for. Don't change the goalpost. Right? I think that's really, really important.
Well, a lot of investors end up never buying a deal because they keep on changing what they're looking for. And you got to be willing to take the risk.
Exactly. And it's kind of like this thought. It's like when you buy a car. I sold my Tesla recently, and I bought an AMG Mercedes. I've never seen this car ever. It's one of those souped up, like coupe ones. I've never seen this car in my life. Now I'm seeing it everywhere. You ever notice that with these cars, right? So when you're looking for something, then you see it everywhere. I think real estate actually plays a big role in that too. When you know what you want and you start to put it on the top of your mind, it starts to appear everywhere.
Mhm.
It's a wild thought, but it's true in real estate. I'm telling you. So, step one, determine the ARV of a potential property. Getting with a realtor. I think that's a really important role in this. Getting with a realtor you trust. Don't be conservative. Don't get too crazy, but also don't be scared. Where you're just so under.
A lot of people try to take the ARV and they try to max it out every time. So your after repair value is you're going to run comparables to find out what the neighborhood's telling you. But in any given neighborhood, you may be looking at 120 to 160 a square foot. And if you're trying to push everything to 160 and things don't go like you want them to, it could absolutely bite you in the ass. But you also got to play with the numbers to look at what is a healthy conservative ARV that will allow me to buy this property and not completely lose my butt.
Sure, exactly. So you take the ARV, some of y'all multiply it by 70%. ARV times 70%, which is kind of the gold standard of investing. 70%. You want to estimate repairs. You've been working on repairs?
Yep.
Getting better at it?
Much better.
Every day?
Every day.
Getting a little better? Walking properties? The more you do it, the better you'll get. How many did you walk today?
Not today.
How many you walked recently? The other day we met, you'd walk 2.
Yeah, and I have those two in contract.
Whoa, okay. That's an engineer's right there for you. He's moving forward with how do you get good at estimating repairs? You just got to do it. You got to practice. You got to walk them. You got to get with contractors. Get with somebody you can walk these and get really comfortable.
Stella, where's the remote? Get over here.
Take your ARV, multiply it by 70% minus repairs. Gives you your purchase price. ARV times 70% minus repairs. Now that's the gold standard.
So understand this. So I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, it was more common. I felt like it was something that was much more common. Nowadays, I know a lot of people are like 75. Can we go to 80? Can we try to make this work? And truly, it can work at a 75 or 80, but you got to be on with your numbers. And where it really starts to work is when you're moving volume. I know a lot of investors that they'll tell you, I don't want to deal with a deal unless I can make 50,000. I don't want to deal with a deal unless I make 60, 65, which sounds great. I think all of you are like, yeah, me too. But when truth be told is you're going to have a little bit harder of a time finding those deals. So you may not buy something for a long time.
But here's a thought on that. Let's say you say, I want to make 50 grand. John, will you make 40?
I'll make 20.
Okay. So will you make 25 on a deal on a flip? It's pretty conservative. at least we make 22, 23,000, keep the contractors busy, keep. So that's the problem, is you have more investors willing to cut your 60,000 into 20. That to me is the real issue right there, right? It's just,
It gets a little scary sometimes.
yeah, sure. No
But
doubt.
here's the deal, like, not to get too technical, but on the back end, when you're buying in bulk, you're buying product in bulk, I'm buying more brick, or I'm buying more wood, you can save a little bit of money there. If you're moving more product and you're using a real estate agent to make sure you can negotiate a deal with an agent because you're moving more product. Like, everything comes with a little bit of benefit, yet you just got to understand your risk in the whole situation and make sure that you're not completely gonna like hurt yourself in the decisions that you're making. But a lot of people aren't gonna buy anything.
Susan and I have done a lot of properties together. We bought properties just to keep contractors going.
Mhm.
Like, heck, we go, a lot of times we'll go to their birthday parties and, it's a partnership with these people, right? We've done hundreds of the same people. I see some people get in, they got 6 contractors within the first 6 months.
I started that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't know how to handle contractors, but, to me, it's a partnership. It's, we're in it together. That's the way I look at it. I'm keeping them busy. I'm keeping food on their table.
The other thing too, like tax wise, it's a lot easier to write off $20,000 worth of income on any given deal and run it like a company than it is 50 or 60. So sometimes when you're turning and burning and run like a company, you're dealing in volume, 20,000 on one deal, 20,000 on another, 20,000 on another. You can find a lot of write-offs in those transactions that can help you from Uncle Sam. And that's a big part of the game. When you start moving millions of dollars a year, I spend every month, I'm with my CPA, at least one time a month. When it comes tax season, Lord knows, it's insane.
Yeah. Next up, yes. So what's private money lending? I think of myself, you have hard money and private money. Hard money typically has a larger bandwidth. Private money typically has a little lower interest rate, a little less fees, but they don't have a whole lot of money, typically. So I think of myself in the middle. I want to be a little less expensive than hard money, but have the bandwidth of hard money. That's my goal with this. And that's raising money and, making sure that I'm, not having a huge overhead, so I can give those savings to you as the borrower. But private lending is a short-term, non-conforming, collateral-based loan used to finance investment properties. That's, like you said, a lot of times conventional, obviously FHA will not work.
So you look at 2 definitions. You have QM, non-QM. Qualifying mortgage is usually going to be what Victor does. He's got it's a very paperwork-driven process where you have to meet all these standards. Non-QM most of the time is just, does the property fit what we're
It's
doing?
personal capital.
Yeah.
So I don't, QM literally means non-qualifying mortgage. So I'm not selling these notes. I don't sell the notes off.
Yeah. So he doesn't have to be as strict because he's not selling it to an underwriter, to money and money.
Exactly. King James Limiting will lend up to 70% of the property's ARV. So that's where that 70% deal is trying to kind of get into what is a good deal and how does a lender look at that, right? A lot of times I'm vetting these deals, so I don't want you to get into a bad deal. That's the worst thing that could happen for me is to get you in a deal, it go poorly, and you never do another deal. You didn't make any money, or it wasn't worth your time. We did one deal, it really wasn't worth my time either, right? The real value in wealth building is doing 100 deals together. And I feel like that's where the real magic starts happening is when if everybody you work with, you do 100 deals together, you will get phenomenal wealth. You can say that about any industry, not just real estate, right? And that's behaving in a way that people want to work with you.
So if you're going to go to the wholesale world, he was just telling you something, right? A lot of wholesalers want to mark up the margins so high that the back-end investors end up losing their butt. And the wholesalers are like, yeah, I won. I made $20,000 on a deal. That dude just got out of the business and he's never coming to you again. But if you can build like a really worthy following of people that are like, I know he's not going to gouge me. I know it's a good deal. And they keep coming back. Like you could stay in this industry forever.
So I give you a thought. Brandon, I just told you a deal that Brandon sold me and I made $150,000 on it. If Brandon calls any one of you in here, are you going to answer?
Yeah.
All right, don't give your number away. though.
I told you I'm taking that deal. You got my message, right?
I missed that, man.
Okay, I did. At the end of the day,
But, you know, the side,
I'm secretly working on.
here we go. Let's go.
but the opposite side of that is, say you sold that deal to me and I made $5,000 or I lost money. I'm probably not answering this call again. You know, just honesty. But, so I think that gets back into reputation, right? I mean, you know, I think that's the reason why so many people are in and out of real estate.
Mhm.
Say that's true. You know, people come in and go out, come in and go out.
If you're looking for a quick buck, this industry isn't gonna be very friendly to you. Like, one of the common things I teach real estate agents is, like, don't ever put your money above their money. Their money's always more important than your money. And if you think like that and you like really behave like that, you can stay in this for a long time. The saying is, I don't want to just close one deal. I want to be your real estate consultant for the rest of your life. That means we got to have a relationship. That means I got to take care of you.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my thought as well. I mean, I want to be a partner for life. That's when you need to close in 48 hours kind of thing. I've got a lawyer that's pretty much on staff. So, I mean, when I call him, he drops what he's doing and he puts our docs through. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not. But, you know, when the times that it is needed, that's pretty valuable. Do you agree with that? When you go to that seller and you say, hey, I know you're asking this, but what if we can close in 48 hours?
Yeah.
Would you go down another $12,000? Because this is where I really need to be at. So having somebody kind of having like a 900-pound gorilla in your corner, I think that's important. It is sometimes it's not. But, you know, that's. But, you know, I like to think of myself as a private money lender and a hard money lender in one. The best of both worlds. Why settle, right?
Right.
Yeah. The lending process, we'll get a little bit, just kind of give you a thought, quick. So you have to have an LLC. So that's part of, you know, when you have a qualifying mortgage, that's homestead typically. I can't loan to a homestead. I can't loan to individuals. I have to loan to business loan. So and it's capital that's my own. So that's how you get around that, right? All the, how we can close so quick so you got to have an LLC. If you're doing a JV agreement, your partner must also have an LLC. So, you know, I love putting people together. Matter of fact, Susan and I just closed a deal where she bought a property in Pasadena. I put a second lien on it. So she bought it, put a second lien on it for $30,000. Did the deal. You really didn't have a whole lot out of pocket at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, up 12.
About 12,000. Then you would have been out maybe 5. Is
Right,
that right?
yeah. I went over budget.
Went over a little budget. You know, that's okay.
I got top dollar for that.
You got top.
Fancy.
How much did you end up making on it? Mind sharing?
Right at 20.
She made $20,000 and had. I mean, it was 3 months. Very, very quick.
It was easy.
Just
Stop.
20?
Huh?
Just 20?
Just 20, yeah. But she didn't have much money up either. So the goal of that deal, I'm with you. The goal of that deal was to be in it for nothing. So if you make $20,000 and are out zero,
That's happening on this next one.
that's happened on. That's right. See, she's throwing
And I
that
got
out in the
a second one.
universe
I got
here.
another one right behind.
Yes, but hey, that was the idea. And I have some with your brother. I have like that. Did you
You
know
know,
that?
it's funny. He met me and my brother, 2 separate. My brother represents banks and foreclosures and stuff. He's a real estate agent too. And he met James. He's like, you have a brother? I'm like, yeah. He's like, y'all are way different. I'm like rowdy and aggressive. My brother's like,
Yeah, he's more like me. No, we hit it. We vibe well.
Can I share something about a deal? That you probably was gonna touch on it, but you didn't do it yet. And I don't know if you will, so since it's on my mind, I want to share it. We got a deal the deal was so good, I did wholesale. James is lending on it, if you remember. This deal is so low that we got it with the ARB, it's 100% loan, but I'm not coming out with anything.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
We're working on that out there in,
Was it title issues, right? The title issues?
Yeah, I'm still working on the title issue, but you know, it's a probate deal.
Sure.
But we got it all wrapped up to the point to where you can get a deal where it don't matter the private money, the hard money, the closing costs, nothing. If it's a sweet enough deal, it's 100%, you're not paying anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we at.
I'm a finance guy. I've got a finance degree. Try to calculate your return when you receive money at closing.
Yeah.
You got 10K
It's a
in
little
your
crazy.
pocket and you make 80. Try to calculate that. You can't even do it.
So it's funny, the apartment complex, we talk about other type of financing, a lot of financing people don't talk about is seller financing. So on that apartment complex that you refinanced for me, I bought it on a first lien hard money for 150,000. Second lien was owner finance on 800,000. And my effective interest was still under like 5.5% when I bought it. I made $11,000 down when I bought that apartment complex. Actually, I made it in my pocket. I didn't put anything down.
That's creativity.
It works when you know how to do it.
That's right. Capital liquidity. So typically what I require is a third of your rehab budget. So if you have, $30,000 rehab budget, it'd be $10,000 in capital. Your closing cost, which obviously depends on the purchase price, depends on who's paying closing costs and everything. And then 6 months of your interest payments. So like that's a good, typically that's about 25 to 30,000, typically, something like that. That, you'll be in a good spot. I always say you can blow up in this business or you can blow up in this business and it's usually your capital. Typically, that's what it is. If you can get creative like Susan and I doing those deals like that, and she's not having to bring much money to the table, she can really take off. She is. So find your deal. Obviously we lend up to 70% of the ARV. I can't stress enough getting good realtors. I'm really big on that. They want to take care of you. They want to have accurate ARVs. That's really big in my opinion. People you trust. Right? Who don't just want to give you an ARV to get that deal. I see that a lot. Right? So if you buy this house, they're going to maybe get a buyer's commission and a listing commission. They have every incentive. It's kind of like having a foundation company tell you what the foundation's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's you don't want the people doing the work telling you what to do on the work.
There's a tip. If I'm going to judge a foundation, I'm going to get an engineer
That's
out.
right.
Pay me like $350. He's going to show me where my piers need to be, and then I can shoot it out to foundation company and say, you don't need to come out here and sell me nothing. How much are you charging me per pier on this property right here? I get my number back and I pick the winner. As long as they got a good
I'm telling
warranty.
you right now, they all do it. That's a little tip for all of you here. If you do foundation work, get an engineer's report first.
Because they send a salesperson out.
Yeah,
What's his job?
It's
Run up your piers.
That's right.
You need more
Yeah.
piers to make more
Or
money.
you like this. Oh, you said you want $200. I'll give you $170 a pier, but then they hike it up 10 more piers than you need.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. I mean, if you ever talk to them about it, they're like, we're integrity. We would never do that. No, like they do.
A lot of time that engineer is going to put a stamp and say, the foundation is performing the way it's supposed to. It's just settling. And with that state of Texas engineer stamp, you can take that in. Any lender will accept that. There's not a lot.
And I've done that a couple times where it was kind of on the edge a little bit, and I got an engineer. And everybody who walked, remember that one in Friendswood? We kept having people walk it, and they're like, man, this foundation's off. So I got an engineer to come out, gave me a report saying it was good, and then it was accepted.
Yeah.
Posted it on the
hard.
listing, yeah. So no one, I never had one more comment once that was posted.
It's interesting. Real estate is a huge topic, right? I mean, I just kind of getting off, but there's a lot of learning to do. I think when you get really good at this, you do a lot of deals. I've done so many deals now. I'm like an onion. I can sit here all night and just rattle off things that'll save you money. They cost me money. So that's one of the advantages I think that's helped me on the lending side is being able to teach the process, teach things to look out for, how to save you money. So scope of work, you need, that's, to me, I said this one time and I really believe it. I said, if you find a really good contractor, you'll be a millionaire. I believe that. If you find a good contractor, that is half the game here is, taking advantage of scrupulous
Oh, yeah.
people
I
in
can't
general.
tell you how many people, and you'll learn your lesson if you get into it, giving 3, 4, 5, 6,000 up front and the dude don't show up. He went and bought some Budweiser. He done bailed out
A long
on you, right?
weekend.
The other thing about
On
it.
Monday.
Right. If he ever shows back up for again. When working with contractors, I see this a lot. Like who's part of these investor Facebook pages where people post deals, right? And they're like, here's my ARV. And then they put all the numbers out there. And then you get this group of people, and I'm going to say it. I don't care if you hate me. And there's a group of people in the comments are like, oh, where'd you get your numbers from? And your ARV, and man, either buy the deal or shut the hell up. Like nobody needs to hear your crap in these comments. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I may hurt your feelings, tough shit, right? Here's the deal. Leave that dude alone. He's figuring his stuff out, okay? You want to go and look at the deal and see if you can make it happen. Even better, if everybody's talking trash about him, you should go look at that deal, look him face to face, run your numbers and say, man, this is what I got. Can we work? And you may actually get a dang deal. But some of y'all too busy trying to be proud with telling everybody your ARV's off and your rehab costs. You know what? The problem may be your contractor's screwing you. But you're blaming this dude for putting out bad numbers because you ain't done your due diligence. You don't know how to handle your business. Man, I go off sometimes. I do. Okay? I'm sorry. I've been doing this too long.
Can I stay on your good side?
Yeah, we're
I'll stay on your
good.
good side. That was not me. But yeah, getting a good scope of work. And I'm going to look at your scope of work. So when you come to me and you say, hey, James, got this house, the ARV is 300,000. I'm buying it for 150, and I'm going to put paint in it. I'm going to say, okay, how are you getting that good of a deal? I mean, this is probably not accurate. So I need to make sure that your scope reflects what's needed to get to the ARV. That's really, really, really important thought. And so, you know, it helps you too, so you know what you're doing. I think that's really, really, really important. So an accurate CMA, you know, running your numbers, our job as investors is to analyze deals. It is not to get in the houses and paint or lay flooring. The more deals you're analyzing, the better you're going to get at it. That's an investor. I'm so big on it. An investor's job is to get good at knowing what a deal is and what a deal isn't.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that thought? It's not becoming a master painter. That is not going to lead you to where you want. John, you ever painted a house? Yeah. Never painted. Don't care to, do you? But you're good at finding deals.
But seriously, the more houses you see, the more work you see, the more issues you see, the better you're going to be at it. A lot of investors, they're sitting on their thumb waiting for somebody to toss them a deal, but you're not going to look at anything. You want to be an investor, go look at deals every single day. The good, the bad, the crappy, look at the deals. Eventually, something's going to jump off the page and say, this is the one. But if you don't look at deals, you don't know what to compare.
That biblical principle, you know, if you search, you'll find.
Yeah.
That's the thought right there. If you search, you'll find. What you seek, that's closing. So provided you have all your documentation ready to go, King James Lending can close your deal within 48 hours. And I've done it faster than that. But if it's needed, I can do that. But you have to do your part too. Right? I got a scope of work that I need to make sure this is a deal for you. I've had times where people put $5,000 earnest money down with a wholesaler.
Mm-hmm.
They never submitted all their documents to me. And 2-3 days before closing, they submitted it. And none of it was accurate. And then I said, look, man, what you're trying to do won't work.
So sometimes they're like, King James screwed me over.
Well, what I did was I saved them 30 grand.
Yeah,
At
but
the
they
end of the
won't
day.
see that.
Yeah, they wouldn't say it. That's okay. But the part of the game here is getting everything in as quick as possible. Because I want to vet this with you. You want me to help with vetting your deals? I think you probably do. I mean, I'm going to make sure that this deal goes as well as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't do it if I don't have all the relevant information. So I think it's really important to get everything in as soon as possible. And so we can close the deal. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I like to, like I told you earlier, I don't go to these meetings every day. I don't even have to do that anymore. I don't have to go meet all these people. I like it. And I really like meeting people and helping people. And I get a lot more joy out of seeing you, your airline flight attendant.
No,
Oh,
I work in the corporate office.
oh, corporate office. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So, I mean, meeting someone like you and saying, look, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I want something different. I don't know where to go or how to go. This is the direction I want to go, and I love putting the pieces together. Like, because I understand all the pieces. I just need to know what direction you want to go. I can give you all the pieces of the puzzle, but if you're not giving me a direction, I can't do it. And I think that's really important. And I just enjoy it, and I really do. I love finding it. But I mean, so when you talk about a rental portfolio, talked about Burr. Who's that said that earlier? Yeah. Burr. You know, Burr is the way you build a rental portfolio. And that's, buy, rent, rehab, refinance, and repeat. That's what it is. And so and the reason you want to really, why that's so important is they'll lend based on the ARV. You go to, say, Allegiance Bank or Community Bank or Chase Bank, they'll make you put up 20% of the purchase price. So if you got a $200,000 house, you're going to put up $40,000 just to purchase it. Then you'll have the rehab, right? So if you can't scale a business as every deal you're doing, unless some of you guys got $10 million or something around.
Rich.
Yeah.
If you have that money, we need to talk.
Yeah. Can I loan from you? But if you're having to put up $80,000, $90,000 to do a deal, every deal, you're gonna run out of money quick, right? But if you can borrow at 80% of the ARV, then it's a matter of getting your numbers right, because you could actually get paid to buy rentals. Think about that for a second. Instead of being out 80 grand, 70 grand, you get paid 10 grand to buy a rental. And that's tax-free, by the way. That's tax-free. So you can work your numbers in a way, and that comes down to networking, finding the right people, finding the right deals, vetting the right deals. But if you want to build, that's how you do it. Building a rental portfolio. And that's, you get your cash flow, your appreciation, your principal pay down, your depreciation.
Did you guys hear that right there? I talked to so many people that want to be long-term rental investors. They want a big old portfolio. But I won't buy a house unless I can net cash flow every month, $200 off the bat, $300 off the bat, $500 off the bat. That sounds great. And if you get it, amen, God bless you. I appreciate you. That's awesome, right? But truth of the matter is that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes right now in this market, it's okay if you get the break even, but if you get 100 or 200, you're really winning. But you're getting 200 net cash flow, right? You're getting $200 a month in appreciation, probably more. You're getting 200 month minimum principal pay down. Where can you get $400 deposit in your savings and 200 in your checking on a regular basis? Do it 10 times and it'll change your life. Mm-hmm. Where else can you do that? And guess what? It burns down. We got insurance. We're covered. We're good. It's secured by I love real estate. I can touch all the stuff I buy. Baby, thank you for taking get your hands off my lady. Are we doing that? But seriously, I love it because when I'm dealing with other investors too, if they're putting money with me and we're buying stuff together, I'm like, come with me and let's touch our baby. This right here is your money. I appreciate you, right? We're doing this together. If it burns down, I'm gonna call the insurance company and we're gonna rebuild this thing and it's gonna be okay. I own stocks, right? I don't really care. I have like 30-something, 40-something thousand. I don't do it on purpose. It's just there. But I don't appreciate that. Like, that's not really something I'm like, oh, I want to be in the stock market. I live in the real estate world. So I invest in two things more than anything. People, number one, and real estate, number two. And it's changed my life.
I'll give you a quick thought. Probably hadn't never thought of this. So say you have a stock, which is an asset, right? You buy a stock. Now, how do you unlock value in a stock? Say you buy an undervalued stock. Say you buy it at 60 cents on the dollar or whatever, right? There's something to unlock value, right? Maybe some activist investor comes in there and tries to unlock value. But in real estate, you can buy 50, 60 cents on the dollar, and what unlocks the catalyst that unlocks that value is yourself. Mm-hmm. Kind of an interesting thought if you think about it. You can't do that in really most assets. You're buying it and you just wait. Time is what unlocks that value. Mm-hmm. But in real estate, you are what unlocks that value.
And just a little bit
of rehab.
A little bit of speculation in the stock world can send a really good company stock plummeting. Sure. And it had nothing to do with the performance of the actual company itself. In real estate, the performance of your portfolio, that's your money. There's a direct correlation between the value of it and the actual, like just this.
And you get
Not
to
like
fondle
stock.
it. You get to fondle
You
it,
get to
right?
touch it.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little out of control, guys. This guy's sick.
Hey, you bought this building, you know,
I bought this thing. I bought this on owner finance.
yes. it's
I'm
awesome.
refinancing it right now. It's fantastic.
You can do what you want with it. Okay?
Yeah,
We all
right.
leave, you know. You can,
Y'all go
down.
home. You got business to handle.
But, you know, one good way too is wholesaling. So I love wholesaling. I still do it to today. And it helps, especially when you're scaling your flipping. You want to flip. I'm kind of known for flipping 10, 12, 15 houses at a time. And when you're doing that many, those are out in the future. Right? You have lots of streams of you know, cash coming in the future, but wholesaling gives you cash in the now. And so I think it's really important to do both. That's something I've always done. And it helps throw liquidity to help your notes, to help your materials and labor and everything. So I'm real big on that. Also, if you're looking to get into flipping, wholesaling is a great way to start. Okay. The best way to think about wholesaling, I think, is it's the art of finding good deals. That should be something we all are interested in as investors. It's just the art of how do you find good, and that's a whole topic on itself. But you know, that's what I've gotten very good at, and I think to be a good investor, that's what you have to do. Flipping, you know, how do you build a lot of money really fast? Huh?
Doing a lot.
To me, you flip one house, you make 30 grand. In the next 3 months, you flip 5 houses and make 30 grand. You're making 150,000 in the next 3 months. You do 10 houses at a time, you're making 300,000 in the next 3 months.
Changed a lot.
Yes.
Can I say something on that, James? I mean, for everybody. Me and James been having conversations for about 4 years now, right? He'll tell me, John, do more than one, do more than one. And I was kind of apprehensive. That's what he's saying. I don't want to spend all my money. He was like, look, you may make 10,000 off this deal. You make 60 off of this one. I was scared. About a year ago, I said, let's go. So now I'm actually listening to him, and he's there for me on top of that. And I also, I started doing 3 and 4 at a time. Like I'm at 3 deals right now, right? I got 3 deals going on exactly right now. I'll probably profit about 200 grand in the next couple months, maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
People saying, don't be scared. Apprehensive wholesale flip. Like you're scared waiting on that one deal. Hey, you may only make 10 grand off this deal, but then you got one that you're gonna knock it out the park with.
You don't always know which one it'll be either.
Huh?
You don't always know which one it'll be. Doing as many as I've done, I mean, you think this is a home run deal. Sometimes it is, sometimes it sets longer than you think. You just don't really know. The way you protect yourself is through volume and through over a number of them. Kind of like diversifying, you know, you're diversifying through doing many deals. But I think all 3 of these, I've got a good number of rentals. You know, rentals more your wealth building. You know, this is more cash flow, keeping your operation going, paying your bills. Ultimately, you want to get into buying rentals. That's where you're going to really build wealth. You know, but to me, you do this to get to a place to do more of that. That's the goal right there. That's financial independence. This is a business. This is financial independence.
Yeah. Multiple doors, all kinds of stuff. When you start getting into like portfolios and multiple doors, like apartment complexes, a lot of people think the only way to like truly, it's a deferment of taxation, a 1031 exchanges. It's not an avoidance. People think like, oh, I'm avoiding taxes, 1031 exchange. No, you're not. Uncle Sam will get his money eventually, right? But when you have portfolios, you can loan against your portfolio. And because you're loaning it to yourself, it's in essence tax-free money. You are not selling that unit. So as long as it keeps getting paid down, you can keep refining your money out and buying more real estate and building your portfolio. it becomes exponential.
It's like compound interest too. You don't want to, when you have that tax hit, you take away from your compound interest. The point of compound interest is to compound on itself and then on itself and on itself. You ever look at the numbers of it, it gets crazy.
It is.
After a while, but that's why I bought that 15 house package.
Next.
Yeah. So this was a statement, I don't know if you all have heard this, but this has always made an impression on me. 90% of all millionaires became so through owning real estate. And that's something I believe. I mean, I know a lot of the wealthy people that I've met all own real estate.
Because you can funnel it.
Because you can fondle it.
That's why.
That's right. It's not the financial reason.
Not at all.
But so and I think you have to know why you're doing what you're doing. And so overall, I think this is kind of the thought I wanted to leave y'all with is, why are you doing this? Why are you working hard? Why commit your energies and learn and grow? It's a journey to take to really get knowledgeable, and it's worth it. That's what I would tell you. It's worth it. It's not going to happen over a day. Susan, it's taken a little while. All right. Get the knowledge together. But I mean, you look up and you got a couple $100,000 sitting around too, which is nice. You sleep a little better.
Maybe not.
One of the things I'll tell you too is everybody thinks it should take a certain amount of time. Right? If it doesn't take, if I don't have the result I'm after in 6 months, it didn't work. It doesn't work. That's not an accurate way to look at life, in my opinion. You say, I'm going to do this until it's successful. That's a different philosophy, right? Or it says, say in a year you don't have the results you want, or 2 years or 3 years. The person that gets what they want gets it because they go all out, and they know what they want and they don't stop regardless. And they're growing. They're constantly growing. Every day I try to get a little better. Every day. And you run across certain people when you do that can see that value in yourself, and they want to help you get to where you're going. So I think it's worth it. I think real estate's the place to be. And it'll help you get to where you want to be ultimately.
If you can package it all and wrap it up with what he's saying, and just the general, almost across the board, this isn't anything, but I especially preach this in real estate, is it comes in one statement for me. My strength lies solely in my tenacity. Success isn't because you're beautiful, because you're in shape, because you're the smartest. Success comes because you are tenacious. You're the one that's willing to outwork everyone. You're the one that's willing to get your ass kicked and keep on moving forward. And that's what he said when it talks about, it's not a timeline. It's I don't care how long it's going to take. This is what I'm doing. And when I speak about the things I speak about, I don't speak from theory. I speak from crap I've been through. When I first got into business, I lost a house to foreclosure. I thought I came out with $30,000. I'm going to be a real estate agent. I'm going to make all the money in the world. Lost a house. Wondered what the hell I was going to do. Started second guessing myself. And from there, I'm like, well, why would I quit this? We've already hit rock bottom. Like, I might as well keep doing this. But truly, that's the difference between those of us that get to reap the ultimate benefits and the ones that just stop short of the dream. Is we're willing to take up with all the ass whoopings and keep moving forward. Is the difference.
I appreciate y'all being out here. Thank y'all so much. I'd love to work with you.
Before we go,
Yep.
Can we has anybody got any? Can we do Q&A? You got time for it?
The chat's got some questions.
Okay, so we've got Zoom land first. Before Zoom land, anybody in this building who risked their life coming here today? Does anybody have any questions or anything? Even if you want to comment, just thank them. That's fine too. Anybody at all? Now's the time. And here's my philosophy: is a dumb question is the one you keep in your mind. Do not do that. Ask the damn question. Go ahead.
For the LLC, what documents do you require to show the LLC?
Operating agreement. Yeah, just to show who's an owner in that LLC.
Cool. And of course, your LLC is going to need to be in good standing with the state that you're in, the state of Texas, typically, right?
Yes.
Okay. With the mask, go for it.
As far as
taxes go, what would you say is the most important thing to look into for being able to make a profit without having to pay so much for taxes?
I get with a good CPA. I can give you a couple of them to use. I would, the way I've approached this is, there's two ways to think about it, right? You don't do deals. It's like the lottery guy that doesn't want to take the lottery because he's going to owe taxes on it. If you make a lot of money, you're going to pay a lot of money in taxes. Now, the goal is to minimize it, no question. But I think from a mindset perspective, I would say keep your mind on pushing forward and doing deals, not necessarily on how to avoid every little. And I'm not saying that that's their job to do that, but to me, that's just my approach to it. Is I'm pushing forward, I'm growing.
My very first deal I ever did, a woman bought it to me, and her and her husband said, "Hey, can you help us get this deal done?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can help you with the hard money and all that stuff." And 2 days later, she said, "We're not going to do it." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "My husband doesn't want to pay the taxes on the money." So I said, "What do you want?" I gave them $1,000, and they gave me the deal. I was like, "Are you sure?" And they said, "Yeah, we don't want to do this." And I made $67,000 on that property. Did I pay taxes? Yeah, but I was okay with that. Like that was okay.
Do you only do deals in Texas specifically, or
No.
will you do out of state?
Puerto Rico. Maybe
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
I've got a number of them in Louisiana and some in Florida. Most everything is in Texas.
I got an opportunity in North Carolina.
There you go. I don't know that market well enough. My philosophy has been do the things that I understand, have a small circle of competence, and stay within it. So get really good at one thing. That's kind of the way I think of business. And that's helped me, I could probably get you some numbers.
For what was it? Was it in a certain area?
North Carolina, is that what you said?
Yeah, up by Fort Bragg.
Okay. I'm sure there's hard money. So like here, you might have numbers where, but one thing I tell people to do is go into that area. There's Facebook groups in Houston. There's Facebook groups in Fort Bragg, right? Look for investment groups in that area. Go in there and say, who's the best hard money lender in this area? And I guarantee they'll throw a lot of names at you. Who else?
So I have
Anybody
a question.
Well, hold on. We got one more question. You want to go ahead?
Sure. So, kind of from what I'm hearing, wholesaling is a good place to start to like build your wholesale. What does that look like to get started in wholesale? Is that a big?
I think the best way to do it is driving for dollars.
Yeah.
It's, driving in neighborhoods, looking for neglected houses. The way I always tell everybody to do it is to get on Google, pin drop it. So if you got, the third house on the right, you're driving down the road, you don't see the number on it. That's why, obviously we all do that, right? There's no number, you get frustrated. If you go to Google Maps, you'll never have that issue. You just pick third house on the right, pin drop it, screenshot it, and then you got the house address right there.
And if you swipe up, it'll give you details and things like that. There's also software you can use too, but that's a whole nother day. There's apps where you swipe up and you can send them a postcard directly from in front of the house. That's another world. Okay.
Depends on, then the goal there would be get in contact with the owner at that point. You're going to Skip tracing. Skip Genie is a good. You ever heard that? Skip Genie is a good place to go. They'll give you their email, their phone numbers.
Yeah, we use white pages. We use batch skip tracing. We use just go chase people. No.
Free one. I want to say something for a free one for you. If you're like budgeting and you see an address, you get a name, and you want to get phone numbers on them, USAPeopleSearch.com is free.
Yeah.
And it gets some real good numbers on not only the owner but relatives. You may need to find a relative.
Yeah.
Okay. That is awesome and it's free. TruePeopleSearch.com and USA People. The white pages are correct.
White pages cost not a lot. It's like $15, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I have an account now. I do the
I didn't know.
premium.
I think we use them like once or twice, but I know we got good success. Every now and then we got a special house. And we don't use our software. We use USA and TruePeopleSearch.
Yeah. If you want to get real crazy, offshore databases like public data, I can search license plates and crap like that. I can find anything on anyone. All right. But I
So I
can't.
have a question.
So if I could track a car, I could track a house easy.
I have a question.
Everybody here good? We got Zoom land. What
I
kind
have
of-
a question. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. What's the question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, so my question is y'all are talking about like flipping and wholesaling like business. But what about like if somebody's interested in getting investors into a business, like if you were trying to start a fitness gym up or something like that?
So that's a different world. I think we could step into it, but I'd rather not. I think that's a totally different thing. So you have crowdfunding, things like that. Like there's a million different ways to do that type of thing. I'd like to keep to real estate if at all possible.
Gotcha. Okay.
You get money for that?
How to get money to fund
I
businesses.
only lend
things
on
like
real
that.
estate.
So yeah, so honestly, I know how to make it work. We can absolutely talk about it. But here for this, I mean, it's easier to get money for real estate than it is for business and things like that. A lot of people feel a lot more secure loaning against real estate than anything else.
Okay.
What else? Anybody else?
What would you consider a good cap rate on a multi-family? Is that just gonna depend on the number of units or doors?
I have a 79 unit right now. We're looking at buying in Pasadena,
Okay,
and they actually got shut down. The city came in and shut them down. It's actually vacant. It's completely vacant. So brick, really, it's going to be a home run deal. But that's kind of the problem there. It's right off the Beltway and 225, and it's a really good area. But the cap rate plays a huge role, especially when you talk about big numbers like that. I mean, if you're in River Oaks, it might be a 3 cap, 4 cap. Over there, I put it at about a 7 cap, 7.5 cap. Really, the area plays. That's really all we're talking about is, what's the area. And I'm sure you've done the math on some of that. It gets crazy. You start doing cap rates in really good areas. Like you raise the property $100 net income. I mean, it could be $50 of value. It's crazy if you ever do the math on it.
So when you look at cap rates, here's the deal. Cap rates are valuable to the human being based on like their risk aversion. Like how like what I notice is a lot of Texas people are like, I want a 9 cap, I want 11 cap, and they want these huge fat returns. And then I got a dude from California is like, I'll take a 3 cap. I'm just looking to park my money. But it's about the human being. Like, where's the money coming from? Where's it going? You look at California, they're like, I want to break even to 4 cap. And we have that money coming in. Everybody that ever says, don't California my Texas, guess what? If it's happening, it's your damn fault because you're not buying enough Texas, right? Because you're like, I want 14% return. No, invest in Texas and be okay with the 5 to 7 cap. Be okay with an 8 cap. Stop chasing the 14s and the 20s because pretty soon you're not going to be able to find them. Right now, they're almost unicorns. So it depends on
Part of that, they're buying on appreciation at that point.
Yeah,
Because there's not a whole lot of cash flow, but you buy a 3 cap in California and you look up 3 or 4 years down the road and it's worth $10 million more. So that's kind of the game.
It's a different world. Well, and we would consider like parking money in Texas because you're not really a net cash flow monthly. But when you go like, if you got a lot of money and you want to just park it and you want to you find your tax benefits and things like that, there's a lot of ways it can come back to you. So every property is going to be a little bit different. Every investor is going to be different. Cool. What else?
Can you explain refinancing?
Go ahead.
Refinancing would be, let's say I make a loan to Ozzie and he wants to get a lower rate. So he's at 10% or whatever. And he goes to a bank, say a community bank, and they'll do a 30-year note at 5%. What he's doing is he's refinancing me out as a first lien holder, and he's getting a new first lien holder, but at a lower rate. But at the end of the day, he's saving money on his payments. That's really the difference. refinancing just means.
That's what I have most of the time.
That's the best way to think.
Sometimes people refi it, like I'm going from a 30 to a 15-year note, and then getting to that 15-year note, I'm gonna drop my interest rate. Sometimes it's a cash out refi. So I'm into the property at 900,000, 950,000. I know it's worth 2.2 when I'm done, and I'm gonna cash out to a higher number, 1.35 million. So I can pull out about $400,000 cash equity, and then I can put it to work either in that property or somewhere else. So it's refinance is basically just replacing old money with new money. The benefit, it depends on what you want. Usually it's drop interest rate. Go ahead.
Oh, we got 4 questions out here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we got one that says, do y'all have a person for creating an LLC?
Yeah, my wife will help me do it.
So I use my CPA.
You may give your number?
Yeah, go ahead. You want to drop it now?
Yeah, I'll drop it.
Okay, hold on, let
So
me
you
get it.
put it in the chat too. Just type it in.
That's
there
what I was
too.
gonna do.
But go ahead.
It's 512-934-8886. She can help you set one up. She's real reasonable.
What's her name?
What's her name?
It's Maggie Toler.
Repeat it one more time.
Yeah, sure. It's 512-934-8886. She could do it in 3 or 4 days.
What's the cost on that one, if you don't mind?
I don't get at that. I don't even know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I know my CPA, I'm just full out. It's $1,000. You get the whole book, like everything you need to make sure you are running that LLC. Here's the key, guys. Understand this. People get an LLC and think, I'm protected. My assets are protected. No, no, no. There's a very thin veil that is the LLC. And if you are not running it like a business, if you're not with profit and losses, and you're not having your meetings, and you're not running it like a true business, someone comes to sue you, you get in front of that judge or whatever the situation, your assets are not protected. You've got to run it like a business. Don't just think you're protected because you got an LLC. It could bite you in the ass. Never happened to me, but I've seen it happen. Okay?
So is King James a hard money lender?
Yes.
So what's your rate on an LLC startup?
To open an LLC?
Yeah.
My wife does it. I don't know what she charges.
No. Say I have an LLC and I
Yeah.
want to buy property.
Yeah.
Just what's on average?
The rates?
Yeah.
Depends on your experience. I don't have a set rate for everybody. And if you've done.
He can't say it because he takes advantage of me on the numbers. I'm just joking.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've never done a deal, I'm gonna handhold you. So it's gonna take a little more time. I'm gonna charge you more.
Right.
But if you're like Ozzie, you've done all these deals, I'm gonna give them a better rate because it's.
Sure, we'll talk later.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a part of this conversation.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
All right, I'm gonna follow it up with another LLC question we have. It says, does it have to be an LLC or can it be a corporation?
Yeah, it can be corporate, it's fine.
It can be corporate.
It's just an individual person can homestead a house. So you're gonna sign documents saying this is not for homestead purposes. But corporation can't homestead a house and LLC can't homestead it. So it's really a way to avoid issues. Because I mean, there's a lot of regulations on the consumer protection on homesteads.
Once it's homesteaded, if you fall behind and things like that, and he wants to try to foreclose, it can be a nightmare. But if it's an LLC, a true company, and it's not held as homestead, then it's a lot easier to foreclose and do what you got to do with it.
Gotcha. Just 2 more. We got, does James do long-term financing? And if so, what are the terms?
They're around 7% right now. So it depends on credit. So it can go down to 6.25 to say 7.5. But long-term money is really based on your credit. Or so like hard money on the front side doesn't play on credit at all. Really, very little. It goes off your property, goes off your cash position. But a 30-year note, it's really credit. It actually goes less off the property. It goes more off you. So it kind of shifts a little bit.
And then the last one, it says, I'm going to read it verbatim. It says, when flipping on paper, it is my understanding that title companies do not report to the IRS the wholesale fee made by the wholesaler. Title does report the total sale amount to the IRS should taxes be filed on the wholesale fees.
Man, that's a good question. Yeah, they should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, they probably are, because I bet I bet what's happening is, that's a great stupid question. I would imagine most investors aren't doing that. And now, that's probably a CPA question. You'd say, if I bought this property for 200,000, and the wholesaler made 20, I don't know. That's
You're really,
interesting-
so there's so many different ways. I'm not a CPA, let that be known, right? But a couple different ways is you can 1099 them. It can show up, or sometimes it's, I'm just going to do that as my write-off, because here's the deal is, like, you should not be taxed on a number that isn't a true number for you. You have to protect yourself. And as long as you're doing everything on the up and up, you can protect yourself. So when they come to audit, you just got to be ready to go to war, basically. And that's what CPA's numbers. So if you're running a business, I have a bookkeeper. They have access to all my accounts. I get P&Ls every single month. I look at all the numbers and what's going on. At the end of the year, when we start getting to tax season, the CPA and I sit down. We start getting hot and heavy about, you made too much money, move this, do that, move things around. And we have to make sure that we have receipts and everything to make sure we are absolutely covered.
Maria Gomez was asking. She wanted me to tell you that she was asking.
What's up, girl? It's great.
I have a question, if I may.
Go, hold on. We got one more in-house and then we'll go to Zoom land. Go ahead.
Okay.
So I'm in charge of running my family construction company, so if anyone needs a contractor. But how many contractors have you been through working that many hospitals?
That's a good question. Not many.
Only one, really.
Yeah, I would say, and I probably knew from the beginning, I'd go through them. Just a quick thought on that. This guy, a buddy of mine, used him and he slept at the property. His whole crew. And they did this property in like 3 days. I mean, it was 24 hours. And I said, I've just hit the jackpot. Right. This guy's gonna sleep at the properties, doing good, real reasonable. And he did. I said, first off, how many can you handle? Because look, I'll give you 3 or 4 right now as we speak. He's like, give me them all. And I think he just overdid it. And then I think he just went off the deep end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I say this, I really believe this wholeheartedly. I'm very relational with contractors, and I haven't gone through them, and I take care of them. And that's partly because I find deals. I find a lot of deals, and I keep money in their pocket, but I treat them right. They're my partners. They're not my slaves, or and I see that sometimes where people treat them that way, like I'm above you. And that's a huge mistake. And a matter of fact, I would say if that's your attitude, you will not be successful because you'll run through all of them. You'll run through every one of them. They'll eventually resent you. Even if you're paying them, nobody deserves to be treated that way. So treating people like they deserve to be treated, but they need to treat you good too, right? So it's definitely back and forth. But very few, I've been working with the same, really since I started. I've been working with the same contractor since I started. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, but 7 years and we've done crazy amount of them together. I'm always looking for good contractors, though. I think we all should be. I do a lot of volume, so it's easier for me to keep them happy.
Yeah. 17
I'd love to
years.
get
I've probably been through a dozen in about 17 years, and various reasons. Sometimes it's we start with a really good price and then it starts to go crazy. Sometimes it's like they vanish and you're like, what happened? We were doing so good. Other times you just start seeing the quality start to slip, and you got to manage all those expectations.
What you do is you bring other contractors in there. You let them know. You let them know. You creep up in price. I got 3 others ready to replace you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have those. I like to tell people too, look, when I hire them, I'll say, look, we're going to have tough conversations. We're going to have tough conversations. I want you to know that up front. And when we get to those, be ready for them. I know right now you feel great and you're riding high and I'm a gold mine for you, this and that, but when these tough companies, be ready for them. I think that's a great way to set expectations for how do you handle people. This plays a role. What's that saying? You teach people how to treat you. If you teach people, you don't teach people, they'll treat you however they want to treat you. And I won't put up with it.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things is you can't be afraid of those hard conversations. Like You just gotta have them.
It's gonna save you like
No, it's-
thousands of dollars.
I mean, we all want to be honest with each other, right? We want somebody to tell us the truth. So the best thing to do is just say, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, these things are not working for me. I still want to work with you, but I need these things to work in order for us to continue. And if it doesn't, then do not be upset with me, because I got to make good decisions here. A lot of people depend on me. And then they're like, oh, I get it. Makes sense.
The other thing is a quick thought on that. You gotta find people that are relational. You know, if they're not relational, even though you are, they're not, it won't work. So I'm sure you seem like somebody that you really like taking care of your clients, right? And I can tell that just looking at you. That plays a role in that, right? You want to be taken care of, and then you'll return the favor. Is that a fair? I think that's huge. People don't realize how important that is in this. I'm telling you, you find a good one. That'll.
Well, a lot of people make it that adversarial type relationship where it's like you're trying to get over on each other, when it should be like, hey, we're a team. Like I depend on you, you depend on me. Let's act like a team. If crap's not working out, don't give me some lie. I know you've been on a 3-day cocaine binge. You don't have to lie to me.
You'll join them next time.
Just call me. But stuff like it does happen. Like I've seen some wild things happen. But it's just that honesty and that like just relating to people changed everything.
Got 3 of them, 3 more. Rocio, go ahead.
So James, I just want to I want to be clear on this. So if I come to you for a HELOC, or did I hear correctly when you said earlier that I have to have an LLC, because that was never a requirement before?
Did you say HELOC?
Yeah.
So that's a
HELOC.
homestead
Yeah,
loan.
sorry, HELOC.
Yeah, HELOC is only on a homestead. So you need a conventional lender to do that.
Oh, so you don't do HELOCs?
No, I don't do anything with homesteads.
Oh, okay.
Investment.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, that answered one of the ones that was already asked. So this one's from Alex. It says, I have a question. I'm completely new to the industry and I'm in a phase where I just pulled some lists for wholesaling. Is there anyone that I can shadow, or someone that would be willing to teach me to analyze deals, or maybe just point me in the right direction?
Brandon Walker.
You ready? You ready to tell me your number? Everybody,
you
want to text
wanna
them like,
come type
Hey, I guarantee somebody did that for me a couple years ago, so I get my number out.
get your pins ready.
We're all taking it down.
I give it out. 713-331-9907. And I'm gonna tell you something. James told me this. I had some other people I talked to, they told me this. If you full of crap and you're not ready to put the work in, we will ignore you. We do a lot of stuff all day. If you're serious and you're ready and you can take, like the criticism, you can say, hey, this is what we have to do. You'd be surprised what we do, then we're on. I'm gonna help you, every single person. At some point, we're gonna get it done.
You said number one more time, 713.
713-331-9907. Brandon Walker.
Good thing you walked up here up front.
So anybody, any other questions, Zoom land or in here in the building? Going once, going twice. Sold. Okay, we're done. So, yeah.
Kind of like John said, everybody has a different time frame to when they feel comfortable to really take off, right? And it's okay if it takes 2 or 3 years or 4 years. It doesn't matter. But get to that point as quick as you can. And that might be getting around high quality people like Ozzie. It might be getting around deal flow. When you're around deals all the time, I mean, it inspires you a little bit. I love taking people to closings. Sometimes I'll walk in there with 7, 8 people. I'm not kidding. And they're like, what's going on here? I'm like, they're all, I just want them to feel what this feels like.
Yeah.
Right? Just get around it, get a feel of it, and hopefully that'll inspire them. which is kind of what you're trying to do, right? You're inspiring people to, jump out there and make things happen.
Mhm.
So kind of like that, dreams don't work unless you do. Huh?
That's our affirmation wall,
That's right.
ladies and
I love
gentlemen.
that.
That's a
right.
favorite.
That is one of our
It's
favorites.
it's the same thought there. So, get around high quality people, get around people doing these things, and they'll rub off on you a little bit, and I think it'll speed up your journey.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think when you get around successful people, you'll find like something that's pretty standard for the most part is they're not going to wait and just think and think and think and plan and plan and plan and think and think. It's like plan, think, go. Go, 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 go. Plan, think, go, go. It's just take freaking action.
There's one of my good friends says, if you walk around 5 cripples, you'll walk away with a limp.
Yeah. Or if you hang around a barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. That's the way that works.
You hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I want, man, it was awesome. Did we get value today?
Yeah.
Let's go. No. Did we get value today?
Yes.
Now, the biggest value is do not leave here without networking with someone. Do not leave here without exchanging numbers. We've already started exchanging numbers. People are starting to find things that can help them in what their
My
journey
wife's
is.
gonna be pretty shocked.
There you go. Start getting phone calls, but it's a good thing. Let's keep this money local. Let's help each other out. Let's grow together. Let's learn together. Every one of us is trying to put a puzzle together. Some of you got 1 piece, some of you got no piece, some of you got 9 pieces, some of you got 10. Everybody's got different pieces. If we come together, someone in this room might have a piece of your puzzle that you've been looking for, and you won't know it unless you get up and start having a conversation. If you reach out, and here's a secret, and it's not a secret, but I'm gonna call it a secret, is don't go looking strictly just to benefit yourself. Go with the heart of gratitude, right? Go with a heart of giving. Because you can't outgive God, I promise you that. And when it's all said and done, the more you give, the more it's going to come back. It's tenfold. I look at my life sometimes and I'm like, where did this come from? How did this happen? And I also think like, it's my time, damn it. I've been putting it in for a really long time. And I feel blessed and it's amazing. So just keep on, like find somebody. How can I bring value to you today? What is it? What does it look like? I don't know. I may never receive anything back from you. But I know that eventually it will come back. I don't know when, I don't know from who, I don't know how. But if I keep giving, it'll come back.
Let me say something Ozzie, before you wrap it up.
Get it.
Say that. James, like some people in here on my Facebook page. So I don't know if y'all saw it this morning, Susan, James. I know somebody that does remote online notes. Okay, there's a specific niche in this business. Like he closed deals for people that want to buy deals overseas. You got a mobile notary that'll drive to you. We talking about remote online notary. Some states haven't even picked it all up yet. So I referred him to a title company that needed his services at the time. I didn't ask anything in return. I didn't know what was going to happen. He was a good guy. He reached out to me for like 6 months.
Wow.
After we met, it just kept asking me, "What do you got? What do you got?" I said, "Okay, well, call these people, man. I think they can help you. I don't have nothing for you, but I know who will." Saturday, he reached out to me and said, "What's your address? I got something for you." Now I know him, so I gave him my home address. And he pulled up this morning. I said, "Man, I got to meet with my team at 10 o'clock. He said I could be there at 9:30. He pulled up with a big bottle of Tito's, a big thing of Crown Apple, and said, "Man, I just appreciate what you did for me." I did not bring that.
So why is it here?
But it wasn't the alcohol. It was, he came to my house just for 10 minutes to sit in my study in my office with me and say, "Man, I appreciate what you did for me. Man, we doing some deals that's working out for me. You helped me out a lot." So that goes to what you say, you don't know what you're going to get back, and the appreciation was big. So now I know if I call him and say, "Hey, I got to buy you in Indonesia, man, I need you." And he's done some Louisiana deals for me, remote online notary. When somebody's 80, they can't get there. They could do it online if their daughter helps them or their son helps them on a computer. They can't drive.
They have buyers over there.
Yes,
Alright.
so the deal's here and they got buyers over there.
Right.
Yes,
I
yes.
got you.
As long as they have the proper technology, he can get it done. And if anybody y'all need his number at some point, let me know. And I refer him because he's great. So that goes back to what you were saying. That was a surprise this morning.
Absolutely.
And just another thing, if anybody's buying land, we've got 130 acres in Crosby. So just connect with me.
Connect deals with money, right? Contractors, whatever, like this is the place to make it happen. And we're gonna do this every single month. We're gonna keep on going. I have a whole year's worth of topics from
When's
how to
the next
find
one?
deals. You know
The
what?
first Tuesday of next month.
Okay, so we're calling it Texas Tuesday. Everybody knows what Texas Tuesday is, right? The first Tuesday of every month is when the foreclosures hit that auction block. That's where we're doing it.
Hey, if anybody wants to learn how to wholesale, I've wholesaled like 60 in the last 4 years. So I can show you the process I use. You'll just get up with me after first.
Woo! But yeah, so Texas Tuesday, that's why we're doing it.
Tuesday, October 4th.
First Tuesday of every month, this is when we're doing it. Except for around Christmas time, we'll probably.
A new loan officer for hard money. It was myself, to Susan, Steven, James.
I don't know about that guy up
All
there.
with PJ.
I don't know about that dude. What you got, boss?
Anybody looking for exposure opportunities? I'm hosting a boxing event. Saturday, November the 12th.
Oh, yeah.
So it's gonna be a pretty massive event. 600 to 800 people in the building.
If you haven't registered and signed up, get on there, get on Meetup and network, like connect. Let's all get together. We'll push out more events and we'll keep doing what we're doing.
Can I get a picture? I want to get a picture real quick, Ozzie.
Like how?
Like just everybody just stand
Like
up.
how? Everybody, hold on.
Let's
I
say
guess
bye-
just the
let's-
people in the back stand up and just get as much as you can.
Like speed in.
Here, just get in just a little bit this way. Just you on the edge, just get right here.
Like squeeze in. Stand and squeeze.
All right, I think we're.
Ozzie, get in.
Chill out.
Stand on top of the table, Ozzie.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Where's James?
We have people over there too.
King James.
Hey, can y'all squeeze in? Y'all want to get in the picture?
Hey, everybody say hoorah.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
Got it?
I got one.
Okay.
Hoorah.
Mark knows, Mark knows.
1, 2, 3.
You gotta get James in here.
I know, I'm waiting.
Where'd he go?
And Mr. Brandon over there. Helping our kids.
Get in, get in.
We're waiting on James. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're a fan of Summer April? Are you ready?
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, he was in Lending.
Yes.
Is he still? I haven't talked to him in a while. Good deal.
He tell me about
Everybody look over
Oh,
here.
really?
That's it.
Good deal.
1, 2, 3.
Everybody
say it.
You're a family. I'm gonna be successful.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody online.